And then the last thing we want to do is add our puree. And I've got a little bit of puree here, just already made up in a bag. And that's going to act as our little sauce. And there we have it, our banquet for tonight's meal. So here we are, going to prepare your gala dinner. An amazing opportunity for a chef to show off. But any of these big events, any of these big gala dinners, any of these black tie events that you go to, you know, you get dressed up, you look forward to it, you plan your night. But chefs also do the exact same. Chefs are behind the scenes that want to really showcase what they're trying to do. And as I say, I am really thrilled and feel honoured to be able to spend some time with you tonight. Behind the camera is my beautiful daughter Laura. She has stayed up to this ungodly hour in Glasgow. Obviously we're, I don't know, 8 hours ahead. So my daughter's here. She's going to be working the cameras and making sure you guys get a great view of what's going on. You go and say hello, Laura. Laura, I've been really lucky through lockdown. I've been getting bossed about by Laura for a whole year. She's just graduated film school, so she's doing all my producing, directing and editing and everything else like that. So I've been really lucky to have her, albeit I'm a wee bit bruised. But tonight, as I say, we're going to show off. We're really going to celebrate Scottish food. And we're going to showcase a lot of different ingredients, but I'm going to really highlight 2 iconic Scottish ingredients. And no, it's not whiskey and it's not haggis. What we're going to be looking at is some amazing Scottish langoustines, a really incredible product that Scotland produces and sends all over the world. You can get Scottish langoustines in the States as well. The other main ingredient that's for our main course is we're going to be doing some amazing Scottish red deer or venison. It's going to turn that into a kind of celebratory main course, and I'm going to take you through step by step of this meal. And I always cook things kind of simple. I try and keep things as simple as possible, so there's a lot of stuff here that you can probably do at home. So I'm just going to get squared up here and then get started with some of our stuff out of the way. So what we have to do when you're doing any sort of meal is you have to kind of get ahead. You have to get your what's called mise en place organised. First thing I'm actually going to do is going to be doing some confit goose fat potatoes, and it's really just like a posh French fry, or in Scotland a chip. So first thing I want to do is just top and tail some Maris Piper potatoes, and I've got an apple corer here, and what I'm going to do is just push out some little posh chips. And I mean, if we can't celebrate tonight, when can you celebrate? But I think it's amazing the amount of ways that people are trying to keep things as real and as normal as possible. And as I say, much as I'm in Glasgow, Scotland tonight, my heart is in LA with you guys. But I'm sure it won't be too long before we're all out celebrating and appreciating things a lot more than maybe we did before. So we've got our potatoes, and again I'm just going to be very chefy. I'm just going to make sure they're the same size. And again, it's little attention to detail, and I'm sure if there's any chefs in attendance tonight, they will totally agree. So I'm going to pop those little potatoes in a pot. To that I'm going to add some goose fat. And I just want to bring that up to temperature. So this is going to be for our main course. So with the venison, I'm also going to have some sauteed kale with mushrooms and brambles alongside the potatoes. I've also got a little bit of mushroom puree, and I'm going to do some caramelised shallots as well. And again, I've got these banana shallots, or enchilon shallots as they're sometimes called, and I'm just going to half them through the middle, keeping the skins on. And I'm going to pop them into a little pan. And I always try and keep my food as local as possible. So looking at things that are in season, and even down to oil. So I've got some beautiful extra virgin cold pressed rapeseed oil. And I've got this pan here on a relatively low heat. And what I want to do is just slowly cook those shallots. But what I want to do is caramelise them at the same time, so we get all that lovely sweetness. And what that's going to do, it's going to be counterbalanced with our lovely brambles, which have got a really nice sharp acidity to them. So we've got a bit of heat in there. I'm going to pop in a little bit of thyme. And then I'm going to pop them in a low oven. It's really handy having a few ovens at home. Everybody keeps asking me, why have you got 4 ovens? Because I've got 5 kids and they all eat something different. Especially Laura, don't you, Laura? Sometimes, every time. So, got our shallots working away there. Just pop that up a little bit. I'm going to put a wee knob of butter on there. So we've got our potatoes on, we've got our shallots on. Our kale and our mushrooms and our brambles will cook really quickly, so we can put them to one side. I've also made a cheese crust. So what I've done is I've taken this again, it's a real favourite of mine. It's a cheese called Old Edinburgh. And again, that's available in the States. And it's a really mature, old kind of style cheddar cheese. But it's really crumbly, and you know that way when you get a really nice parmesan, you've got those little crystals of salt in it. That's exactly what's happening with this cheese here. So it's really full-bodied cheese, and what I've done is I've blended that with some breadcrumbs and some parsley, and I've made almost like a pastry, and I've rolled that out really thin, and we're going to use that as a crust for the venison. I have half the langoustines. And I also did a bit of tidying up, and I was out the back putting out some rubbish, and one of my neighbours is out looking for their cat, and I come out dressed in chef's whites at the most ungodly hour, so my neighbours think I'm a bit weird, dressed up as a chef at this time of the morning. Right, so what I've got here is I've got a lemon and kombu seaweed butter. Again, another fantastic Scottish product, Mara seaweed. Again, available, I believe, in the States. So, just some unsalted butter. I've got some dill, I've got some lemon, I've got the seaweed. And what I'm going to do is just pop that over our langoustines. Langoustines are super easy to prepare as well. All you do, half them down the middle, and there's a little sack at the front, you just have to remove that. But I do this a lot. I do a lot of dinners all over the world, and I always try and get langoustines on the menu. Really simple thing for a chef to be doing, but it's always something that just gets people's it's part of a dinner, people start talking to each other, reaching in, and always do them as a kind of big centrepiece. So I do, they're always that kind of showstopper part. And just before, I think just at the end of '99, I was in LA and I actually did langoustines as part of a big Scottish dinner. And again, it seems to really, it really, you know, fills the room. You know, you get loads of dry ice and there's a bit of drama going into the room with it. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make a little fennel, sort of lemon, pea, little bit of carrot salad. So something really nice and fresh. And when I was out shopping today, it just caught my eye, a nice little bit of fennel. Look away if you're squeamish. The last thing we want is, there's nowhere to go when you're live and you're doing, if you cut yourself. We'd have to go to a commercial break, I think. So we've got this beautiful fennel, super simple, nice, thinly sliced. I'm just going to break that in. It's a lovely, refreshing thing to eat raw. Just going to break that in, just into little bite-sized pieces. Do you like fennel, Laura? Have you never had it? You need to try it. Really fresh, lemony, have a wee taste. My eldest son, he was so excited when I told him what we were making. And then when I told him what time we were making it at, it was kind of slightly different, but I'm sure I can hear him waiting for that kitchen door to open. He was prancing about earlier with the dog. Don't know if you remember him from the interview. Right, so get that fennel in there. Just a little bit of trim. To that, I'm going to take some dill, a little bit of dill, and pop that in. I really like dill. I think it's an amazing thing that goes really well with fish. Next, I'm going to add some peas, lovely, bright, vibrant peas, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of raw carrot. So I'm going to trim 3 sides off each little piece of carrot, bit for the chef, and then just take some nice thin slices, and then I'm going to just cut that into little julienne. How was the fennel, Laura? Nice. So, you've probably noticed that I've got a new pan at the front of the stove. And I've got that on kind of medium heat. I'm just starting to get that hot. So I'm thinking about our venison. I'm thinking about the cooking of the venison. So, at the minute I'm going to leave that like that, and I'm going to finish that off when we're going to be serving our langoustines. Langoustines are going to take a minute or two. So the next thing I want to do is I want to start cooking the venison. So I'm looking for a really hot pan. But venison's a really, it's a really good ingredient to work with. Very accessible, healthy. You know, it's got very, very low cholesterol. And you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. So it's a couple of slices and it's plenty. Just check our langos. So we want to make sure the pan's nice and hot. So hear that noise, you get that sizzle. So pop in a couple of bits of venison. I'm just going to wash my hands. So, looking for high heat. Move that out of the way. I actually did some dishes when I was away the last time. Clean as you go. So we're looking for nice high temperature. What we're trying to do here is we're caramelizing the meat, and that caramelization process is where we're going to really get a lot of flavour. So in with the venison, I'm going to pop in. I just take a bulb of garlic, I just half it through the middle, and I'm just going to pop that in. And I'm also going to add some thyme. So we're going to get loads of colour, loads of noise. And the pan always tells you what's going on if you listen. So if you use your ears when cooking, it tells you exactly what's going on. So if you're getting a lovely sort of crackly noise, you know it's okay. If it's really noisy and you're having to stand back here, it's too hot. And if it's not making any noise, get the heat up. A bit of common sense cookery, as they say. So I'm going to just give that a wee turn. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get this really well caramelised on the outside. And then we're going to get that cheese crust on there. And get it ready for the oven. Just making sure. And what we're doing when we're sealing meat is we're getting all that flavour, we're creating flavour. We're not sealing flavour in, we're creating that flavour. So the more caramelisation on the outside, the better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that onto my little board of crusts, and then remove. Easier said than done. This time, there we go. So we're going to tip that over, going to remove that cling film, and then pop it on a little tray. And we're going to bake that in the oven for about 5 minutes. So langoustines are ready. They've been ready for a couple of minutes. Venison is in and cooking. So I just want to finish off this little salad, and I'm going to use some lemon infused oil. So it's cold pressed rapeseed oil. We'll give that a little shugo. And to that I'm going to add a little bit of combo seaweed. And then, where's my dishes, Laura? And over there. So we're going to take a little bit of our salad. Pop that in there. super simple. And then we're going to take, oh, and there's my venison. Let me get my venison. And there we have our venison, lovely golden crust. So we'll just pop that there for now, and we need to let that rest before we cut it, which gives me a wee chance to get the langoustines served. And again, just a little bit, I'll actually do some dulse seaweed over the top, and I've got a little bit of coriander. We'll just finish that off with that. And that is our first course. We'll move our langos away. So venison's resting. The next thing we have to do is we're going to do our little garnish. So we've got some beautiful chestnut mushrooms. And I'm just going to cut them into little chunky wedges. These mushrooms are quite big just now. And again, we'll get some rapeseed oil into the pan. And what we want to do with these mushrooms, we almost want to treat them like a bit of meat. We want to treat them the way you would cook a piece of diced steak. We want to get some caramelization going on there. So really high temperature. And we want to get some colour. And it's the same rules a bit of meat. You don't want to be moving them too early. You want to create that lovely, lovely bit of colour. And whilst we're waiting on that, we'll just get our kale. And all I'm doing is just removing a kind of centre stalk in the kale. Again, this dish would work with a lot of different veggies. Asparagus in season works really well. It's very posh. Tender stem broccoli I really like when that's about. Again, we don't want that too small. See that lovely colour? Hope the smoke alarm doesn't go off, Laura. We're going to pop in a little bit of butter and then our kale. And we just want that kale just to wilt down. Perfect. I feel as though we're getting there. We've got lovely venison, got our langoustines there. We'll tidy up a little bit. A little bit of seasoning, and then I'm going to pop this onto a little tray at the side, and then I'm going to add these beautiful little brambles. And we're just going to warm them through a little bit. I'm going to turn the temperature down in the pan. And we're just going to let them just wilt a little bit or just bleed a little bit. Remember our wonderful shallots. So I just want to remove that skin. In fact, I'll pop them in there. Need a couple of the shallots. Pop that in. But finish that with a little bit of butter. So from here, we're ready to carve our venison. Potatoes, venison, garnish. We're ready to plate up. So in here we've got a little bit of that puree. We'll pop the venison on there. Let's get tidy. So I'm almost afraid to say it, but this is what you could have had if we were in the real world at the minute. But as I said earlier, I really don't think it'll be too long before we're getting to enjoy nights like this for real. But I think doing nights like this where we can get everybody together virtually, you know, in many ways it's been great because we've been able to probably talk to people more, especially our friends in the States. We've managed to really make a point and I don't know, just get together more, even though it's virtually. But it's been great, to be honest, just getting. So just going to pop on a bit of the kale, some of those lovely chestnut mushrooms. To that we're going to pop on our little goose fat potatoes. Pop on our shallots that I've now taken on some of that lovely bramble. And then from there we're going to pop on our venison. And last but not least, our lovely little brambles. Again, giving you all that sharpness. And then the last thing we want to do is add our puree. And I've got a little bit of puree here, just already made up in a bag, and that's going to act as our little sauce, just giving you a real sort of umami flavour. And there we have it, our banquet for tonight's meal. As I say, I wish it could be in person, but I hope that you enjoyed joining me tonight at my home, and it's been my absolute pleasure to have joined with yous. So hopefully see you all soon. See you. Bye bye.